What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. Thank you for watching. Today we are testing probably one of the oldest debates in the history of guns. Birdshot versus buckshot versus slugs. So shotguns are still commonly used for home defense, and most of the time I think it's a great choice. They're cheap, easy to use, and very, very effective. What more could you ask for? But what ammo you use is really what matters when you're talking about shotguns, because there are so many to choose from, and some are a lot more effective than others. So today we have 3 of the most common shotgun loads, and we're gonna see what the difference really is between birdshot, buckshot, and slugs at self-defense range. Let's do it. So each of these loads obviously have pros and cons. First up, we have birdshot. Now, birdshot gets its name because it's used for birds, and it's the easiest one to hit flying targets with, because there are hundreds of tiny little pellets in here that spread as the shot flies through the air. Although it doesn't spread as much as a lot of people think. They're the cheapest, the lowest recoil, and also the lowest risk of over penetration through walls and stuff. But they also are not going to penetrate as well through tissue, which could make it a bad choice for home defense. Most people do not think birdshot is the best choice for home defense. Not telling you what to use, just some things to think about. And by the way, to give it a fair shot, we're going to use high brass birdshot, which is more powerful than clay pigeon target loads and stuff like that. Let's put one on the steel. So you can see at 10 yards away, we did get all those pellets on the steel, but it did cover basically the entire target. And next up, we have double-aught buckshot. This is probably the most common one that people use for home defense. Number 4 buck or double-aught buck, the higher the number, the smaller the pellet. But same concept as birdshot, multiple pellets that spread as it travels down range, but these are a lot bigger and heavier, and there's a lot fewer of them. So very powerful, very, very effective, a lot more recoil, and a higher risk of over penetration, which honestly, most effective self-defense calibers are gonna blow right through house walls and stuff. Until we get plasma rifles, it's just something we gotta deal with. And this is the Black Aces double-aught buckshot. It's the most powerful one that I have, so. Let's see the difference. Yeah, a lot more recoil, and it hits the steel way harder. And last but certainly not least, we have the 12 gauge slug. So these are probably the most powerful out of the 3, although it's hard to say because some double-aught buckshot loads are right there with them. But very, very effective, very powerful, and usually have the most recoil as well. And slugs are obviously just one projectile, so you don't get the benefit of the spread pattern. I tend to think slugs are overkill for home defense, but it all depends on your circumstances, and they definitely are gonna have the highest risk of over penetration as well. So let's see how it feels. These things are shoulder breakers, so let's go for it. Wow. And I realize that most of you guys already know everything I just told you, but new people do watch the videos, and I wanted to give some basic information on each of the shotgun loads. So let's have some fun. So I absolutely love Benelli shotguns, but one thing I don't like about the Supernova is the sound that it makes when you rack the pump, which is probably the coolest part of a pump action shotgun. So listen to this. It sounds kind of plasticky. And now listen to the Mossberg Shockwave. That is how a pump action shotgun should sound. Arousing. Now, really quick before we do the self-defense test, I have set up my high-speed camera, and I want to shoot watermelons with each of these shotgun loads. And I know watermelons are repetitive and everyone shoots them, but this is only for the slow motion and to see how much damage each of these do. So we're going to start with the birdshot, and our watermelon is about 7 yards away. Most shotgun loads will disintegrate a watermelon, so let's see what the birdshot does. Yeah, not too bad. And the double-aught buckshot. I really don't know if the slow-mo is even good enough to see the pellets, but I'm hoping it is. Let's see what the buckshot does. Well, we inadvertently cleared a plate off the Texas Star. I think that was more dramatic than the BIRDSHOT. And the hollow point slug. Both the BIRDSHOT and the BUCKSHOT completely obliterated those watermelons. So let's see what the slug does. Well, it's hard for me to definitively pick a winner because they were all ridiculous, but if you watch the slow-mo, that slug went kind of low and you can literally see it bend the entire table in half. So either way, the BUCKSHOT and the slug were both very impressive. All right, guys, for the self-defense test, of course, we are going to use the best product, in my opinion, for these videos, a ballistic dummy lab head. But this is actually one of their new busts, which is the shoulders, neck, and head with a built-in stand. So it's got flesh, bone, everything on the inside, collarbones on the front. And if you look at the back, we also have the neck and the top of the spine. So very realistic and always a lot of fun. Let's see what happens. And I want to give a shout out to opticsplanet.com for sending me this shotgun barrel for the Benelli. We do have a discount code with Optics Planet. So if you shop there, text OneShotTV to 80907 and they'll send you a discount code right there to your cell phone. Now we're going to try these at about 10 to 15 yards away because at really close range, I think all these shotgun loads would basically do the exact same thing, which is completely destroy the target. So starting with the BIRDSHOT. Well, this is pretty freaking cool. I don't think I've ever seen a result quite like it. So if you look at the shoulder and the collarbone area, you can see all those BIRDSHOT pellets that got stuck in there. And then looking at his face, I mean, he is all peppered up, but I don't think any of those actually went through the bone. So it would be a bad day, but he might have survived it. Next up, we have the Black Aces double-aught buckshot. There might not be too much left after this to test the slug on, but I guess we'll see. Well, I actually hit a little bit lower than I wanted to, but that was still quite a big difference from the BIRDSHOT. So you can see all the damage that we have on the front of this thing. It looks like it hit kind of towards the bottom left and just blew that entire side of the face right off. And you can see the bones that got broken in the process. So he is leaking a little bit, obviously. It looks like one of them just barely grazed the ear. Let's go around to the back. And we've got a couple exit holes right there, maybe one or two more down here, and he's in pretty rough shape. And it looks like one of those pellets actually went through and completely broke the bone. So the head is no longer attached. It fell off while I was talking, but luckily it is still intact, which means we get to test the slug. All right, 12 gauge slug versus the old dome piece. Let's see what happens. It's gone. Well, that was about the result that I was expecting. Shotgun slugs are absolutely ridiculous. So obviously we have a pretty big mess on the table here, and if you look at the entrance hole on this thing, it is literally the size of a grapefruit, just humongous. And then the entire insides got blown out and they're laying over here. I don't know if you guys will be able to see it, but it looks like there's a pretty big wound cavity going straight through that thing, and then it came out the back right there. Shotgun slugs would absolutely get the job done, but as I said earlier, I personally do not use slugs in home defense shotguns. They're just a little too powerful for me, and I also have neighbors, so I wouldn't want to risk the overpenetration. But if slugs are what you choose, they're about as effective as anything on planet Earth. All right, guys, there you have it. Shotguns for home defense. I personally like double-aught buckshot, but I'm not gonna tell you guys what you should use. If you do use a shotgun for home defense, let me know in the comments and what type of ammo you put in it. I would be glad to hear from you guys as always. If you liked the video, please let me know in the comments as well, and hit that like button for me, guys. I'd really appreciate it. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time.